This poem is entitled The People by Hannah Hassan, who asked to be introduced as follows. She is a Black woman Muslim poet from the American South. When searching for the answers, the solutions, the wisdom, for how to heal what ails us, for how we make well when we are ill, for how we find the cure to what has harmed us, for how we find the medicine that will make us feel better, make us see each other, make us care for our neighbors, make us alter the systems and behaviors that have left some behind, that have left many without, that have found those living in pockets of poverty within rural landscapes, remote cities and boroughs, and small mountain towns on the edge of opportunity, seeking hope and help for the future of their home, for the well-being of their community. When we are seeking the ideas and sparks of ingenuity, the answer will definitely come back to what it has always been and what it always will be. The power is with the people. The everyday boots-on-the-ground neighbors and workers who exist, live off of, feed off of the land and the environment around them, and the people who surround them, who stand up and stand in for them day to day. The next-door neighbors, plant and factory laborers, that one doctor in town, the community organizers, the small-town mayors, the grocery store workers, teachers and bus drivers, the waitress working the double shift, the up before the sun 9-to-5ers, living in the community, working, doing the best they can to build their home. These are the people with the remedy, who hold the answers and the cures. These are the folks that our systems and solutions should depend on. For inspiration, for education, for planning and understanding exactly what the people need, exactly how to design for sustainable and equitable futures. The people who live in these spaces are at the center of the playbook. For the people closest to the problems are the people who hold on to the solutions. That is what local control really means. It's when all forces align and prioritize community engagement. It's when resources are shared. It is found within meaningful collaboration. It's working side by side. It is when the organizations and the people are at the table. That is where we find sustainable and equitable solutions like humane housing, lifelong learning, and reliable transportation. And all of the things that we need to ensure that we are well, that our families and our neighbors are taken care of. Local control is fostering an environment where the people are empowered to craft their spaces with love, to decide what the future of their home looks and feels like. Local control is structuring and restructuring from the inside. It is building by the people. It is healing from within. It is at the center of how we have always cared for each other. It is where the process should begin and end. In centering the people's voice, that is how we foster healthy communities. That is how we remind our neighbors that they have a choice of what happens in their home, of which programs and processes should be in place, of which places and spaces belong. This is where we find the future of how we heal together. This is how we continue to build healthy places and communities of care with creative collaboration, inspired and inclusive activation, and the people who occupy these spaces, the people who have always been there.
Thank you so much, Nora. I knew you were the perfect person to read that poem. And thank you to the poet, Hannah Hassan, who I spoke with and was so grateful that we were sharing her poem here on Martha's Vineyard. So, what a wonderful opportunity to gather with each of you. Thank you for welcoming me so openly. As I said before, I feel so at home here. And it's my belief in these uncertain times, and always the most important thing we can do for ourselves and each other is to create community. So just by choosing to come here today, you have done just that. Thank you. I'd love to share a story of mine with you this morning, which seems to fit today. In 2023, just shy of my 60th birthday, and a few months after I was ordained as an interfaith minister, I set out alone to hike the Camino de Santiago. The French route to Santiago begins in a little town in France called Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Maybe some of you have been there. On a warm September day in that little town in the main pilgrim office, I met a volunteer named Jacques, who affirmed my intention to walk the 500-mile sacred pilgrimage across the north of Spain to Santiago and officially welcomed me to my pilgrimage. At that time, I was given this scallop shell, which is what all pilgrims wear and carry on the Camino. Took me so many days, I ended up painting it at one point. Pilgrims have carried shells with them on their pilgrimages for over 1,200 years on the Camino. Many come to the Camino with specific purpose or deep connection to their faith. Some walk in memory of a loved one or in honor of a challenging time in their life. For me, it was a walk of reverence for my life and the people in it who have shown up for me and helped me on my path. So before I left the vineyard, I took 40 scallop shells, which was my estimation of how long it would take me, and I wrote on each shell the name of someone who had inspired my life. Each day before hiking, I would close my eyes and choose a shell to walk with for that day. I was physically alone most of the time, but every day I had someone to walk with and thank for being in my life. Then I would leave that shell somewhere on the path with gratitude for knowing them. Before daybreak on my first Camino morning, I woke up, closed my eyes, and chose my shell. And I was thrilled when it was my wonderful husband, Brad. I thought that was a good sign. Then I stepped outside and I began walking up into the Pyrenees Mountains. That first day was a 19-mile hike straight up into the mountains across the Spanish border. It was one of the most beautiful and difficult things I've ever done. That day, as I climbed the mountain, I felt one of the most profound connections to God or spirit or divinity that I have ever experienced, which continues to be with me today. The truth is, I had no idea if I could do it. I physically and emotionally, to hike 500 miles. And at first, I was really afraid. I was afraid of something happening to me, of what might unfold as I walked toward the unknown. Being alone and scared was hard. But I began each day with gratitude for the ability to walk, especially that second day, because I didn't know. I had used muscles I had never experienced before. So I did put one foot in front of the other that next day. I prayed when I needed to, which gave me great strength. Many times at the beginning, I found myself on my knees, literally on my knees in the path, praying to let go of my fear. However, as I continued to put one foot in front of the other, with each passing day, my fear was replaced with curiosity about the path ahead, and I became interested in the people around me, the stories of those who walked beside me, and I grew strong, inside and out. It took me 40 days to walk those 500 miles. I had a general idea of the topography and the elevation of each day's walk, but otherwise I began every day unknowing what my steps would bring. I learned fast to trust myself and the kindness of strangers. I still find myself on my knees at times, but my prayers of fear were soon replaced with an incredible sense of gratitude for my life and just for being alive. Being alone most of the time for this 40 days gave me the gift of deep introspection and thought, and a few things crystallized for me while on the Camino, which are, first, we are all pilgrims on our path with our own unique load to carry, and it's up to us to know when and how to let go of what doesn't serve us. We cannot judge what another carries with them. We can only reach out our hand to them and do what we can to help lighten their load. Next, you never know what is up ahead of you or around the bend in the road. All you can do is step forward into the unknown and trust that you have what you might need to meet each challenge that may come. Also, curiosity is everything, and the older I get, the more I believe this. Strive to be interested in the people around you and work to listen to the stories, even those who don't interest you. Everyone needs to be heard. I was reminded that community can be created everywhere and anywhere in a seemingly random conversation at the post office or the gym, even in silence or with those who don't speak your language or share your beliefs. And finally, no matter how far you travel or how wise you become, fear will most certainly creep in. And when it does, nurturing strength in body, mind, and spirit is what helps transform it into power. Today we heard Mark read the poem Otherwise by Jane Kenyon, an homage to the impermanence and fleeting nature of our lives, and gratitude for the simple gifts of moving through our days. And we heard Nora so beautifully recite Hannah's poem, The People, about inclusion, recognition of those around us, and the power we all have to support and take care of each other. And soon we will hear Lucinda read a beautiful piece about connecting to the power of spirit and honoring the light of our soul. These readings speak to showing up for ourselves and each other with gratitude, curiosity, and reverence for the pilgrimage we are all on. Often over the last several months, I have felt that same fear resurface that I felt on those early days of the Camino. The fear of what lies ahead, as many of us have. I too have spent sleepless nights imagining what might be there ahead of us all. But I have grown tired of shrinking to the fear and have recognized, that is fear that separates us from each other. And it almost always forces us to dim our light. So lately there is a quote circling around that I love, and it says, "Leave people better than you found them." And what a wonderful recipe for a life. If we all work to leave someone a little lighter or more clearly heard, we would walk through the world with more connected to ourselves and our purpose. We have the simplest tools within us to do this. The opportunity to listen well, to forgive, to take care of and celebrate each other. And you've been holding these shells in your hands. And I like thinking of looking out at you, and even on Zoom. Oh, hi, Shirley. Here, Shirley Kennedy just joined. Welcome. I like thinking of all of you and these shells and this one person that kind of sits with you here, that you represent, that the shell represents as they join us in this space. And these are the people who have shown up for you and have left you a little better than you were before. And as a result, allowed you to live your life in a way that is meaningful for you. And if time allows, I'm hoping if any of you feel called, you might just stand and speak the name of that person or just a few words about how they've shown up for you. And I know that's a lot to ask and it's personal, but if anyone has called or just has that in them to speak, I would love to hear. I think we all would love to hear. Oh, beautiful.
Ira, you take me back and forth to Dana-Farber and just hold my hand.
And what's his name? Ira. Thank you, Ira.
Tad Crawford, who helped me through a crisis of confidence.
Beautiful.
Sheila Hanley, who's always there for me.
Hope you heard that, Sheila.
My mother, Barbara.
Pamela Street, who is the best caregiver in the universe.
Yes, and a wonderful person.
Susanna Parkinson, who always is there for me. Stephanie Michalzik, for a long-term friendship, a very good listener.
Thank you.
Alexandra Oliski.
And if anyone on Zoom has anyone they'd like to speak the name of, please do.
Sarah's husband, who showed me such a silent way of being of devoted service and love.
That's interesting, Mike and Sarah both showing up today. Thank you. And thank you for coming.
My shell is also for Ted Crawford, and I picked one that had kind of a break in the middle of it, a line through the center. And you had mentioned that all these roads lead to one goal, and that for me represents when I lost Tad, and I had to regather and continue in all those ways to reach my goals.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mimi Davis, a caregiver in training.
I'm grateful to all of you. I could have lost my life fairly easily last summer, and you held me up, and I appreciate and love every one of you.
Thank you.
Am I hearing? Who loved me?
To Donnie and Lou, I never would have been able to farm it out.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Thank you all so much. And for those names that aren't spoken, we honor them and those who walk beside each of you. In our own unique way, many of us strive to look in our own unique way. May each of us strive to look into the eyes of those around us and look upon them with gratitude, and in doing so see ourselves, our purpose, and our own beautiful pilgrimage a little clearer as well. Thank you.
This poem is by John O'Donohue. It's called A Blessing of Solitude. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize you are not alone, that your soul is in its brightness and belonging, connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your own individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of our soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life there is something beautiful, good, and eternal happening. May you learn to see yourself in the same light, delight, pride, and expectation from which God sees you in every moment.
I just want to thank Polly for her words. I mean, she's just absolutely so wonderful. My husband and I, whenever we hear her on the radio, we're always so happy. We just, whatever it is she's playing or saying, we just love hearing her voice and what she says to us. She's just wonderful. After our closing hymn, well, I think maybe during the benediction, maybe we will stand and hold hands. I think that would be appropriate. And then after our closing hymn, we invite you all to stay and have some refreshment with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. And yes, that sounds beautiful to stand, and if you feel it, hold each other's hands. Our final prayer here. We give thanks to Spirit for bringing us together today and for the opportunity to see the light of divinity in each other's eyes. May we work to find ways to practice gratitude for the gift of each day and honor those we meet on our pilgrimage and on our path. May we nurture our health and happiness, and in the beautiful words of John O'Donohue, may each of us recognize in our life the presence, power, and light of our soul. May we work to release ourselves from the bondage of fear of what might lie ahead, knowing we have the power to put one foot in front of the other and step into the unknown with the certainty that we are never alone, we are loved, and we are deeply connected to a benevolent and divine presence. May we work to hear each other's stories and tell our own so that we may recognize our common humanity that connects us all, and may we be reminded that we have the power to heal from within. Now, with the blessing and the blessings of this wonderful community here in Stephen's Chapel, go in peace as you leave this sacred space. And to quote the very wise Mark Halperin one more time, may you take the time in your life today to recognize the people you love in your life and find ways to show and tell them. Peace be with you on your pilgrimage, and may your life be a blessing to the world. Amen. Ashe, and so it is. Thank you so much for coming.
Well,